I know you're the one who said, let's go when I told you to follow me 1,500 miles. I know you held on when you waited 25 years for Isaac. And I know that this boy is the son that you love and you waited for. But the Bible says in Genesis 22, verse 1, that God said to Abraham, take your son, your only son, Isaac. Only son? I thought you had another one. Yeah. He threw that one out. This is the one that he had left. This is the one that God promised. And I would like to speak to you today about how sometimes we let go of things that are sins in our life, but that's not what this text is about. I would like to speak to you today about sometimes we need to let go of habits that are bad for us in our life, but this is not a text about quitting cigarettes and vaping. Don't worry, I'm not preaching about that today. I'm preaching about something deeper. Because what do you do when God says, I want my promise back? Not because I don't intend to fulfill it, but because I'll fulfill it when I want to fulfill it, how I want to fulfill it. And I need you to trust me. Now, if you don't have deep trust with God, in this moment, you will need details. You start trying to control everything. You start trying to manipulate things. And that is why some of us are so stressed right now. Because there's a dream that you thought God gave you, and maybe he did. But there are details to that dream that are not being met on your deadline. You can't call him God and give him a deadline. The boss sets the deadline. I know what I thought I should have been by now, but it's not my deadline. Let me set you free with one sentence. I like to say one thing that makes it worth coming, even if you've been asleep the rest of the time I've been up here talking. It's not my deadline. If God waited until Abraham was 100 to give him a baby, you think God's going to do everything you want him to do within the first quarter of this year? What do you do when God says, I want you to hold on? Oh, I got it. I've been thinking all week how to say this. I just got it. What do you do when he says, hold on to the promise, let go of the plan? What do you do? That's our question, right? Because some of us are really good at let's go. Let's go, got my vision board. Let's go, got my goals. Let's go. So you're really good at let's go. But I was looking for a way to illustrate this yesterday. And I thought, God, if I don't illustrate it right, they won't hear what they need to hear. And I really want to speak to the person who is holding on so tight to their idea of life. And I'm praying about this. I'm thinking about Abraham and Isaac in this crazy scene where he is about to take the life of his son because he doesn't know that God doesn't want to take Isaac. God wasn't taking Isaac. He was testing Abraham. And there's the let's go moment. There's the hold on moment. You will find yourself in both. But when God says let go, that can be hard to hear. Because this is something I think he wants me to have, but he's not doing it how I think he wants me to do it. Or to pray for. Or to ask for. As I'm thinking and praying about this illustration, I'm thinking I'll look in a book, but then Bo runs over. Our Boston Terrier runs over. And he brings me a ball. And I first think, I don't have time to play fetch with you, Bo. I am working on a very important sermon for very important people about a very legendary Bible text. And it is a serious text. And I don't have time for this because I'm talking about let's go and let go and all of that. And he brings me the ball as if he is saying, let's go. So I take the ball and I throw the ball. And as I'm throwing it, I remembered, oh, this won't take long because Bo is terrible at fetch. And I'll tell you why he's terrible at fetch. Because he's really good at let's go. He'll run and get it real quick. But once he's got it, he did not hear my sermon today called When God Says Let Go. And he is better at retrieving it than he is at releasing it. So I can't get him to understand that we could do a lot more if you would say, let's go, and then let go and get in the rhythm of retrieving and then returning and retrieving and releasing. And I give it and you bring it back, and I give it and you bring it back. And now I understand why God will sometimes call us to bring him something that we thought he promised, so that he can clarify what he actually promised, so that he can do what he said he would do, not what I thought he would do, not what I wanted him to do, not on my deadline, but on his destined schedule for the purpose for which he intends my life to be a small little piece. So I want to tell every Bo in the room, let go. Let go. How can you say that? This is important to me. How can you tell me to let go? I have to make some plans, don't I? Yeah, you got to make them, but don't hold them too tight that you choke them. Wow. Is it possible? I'm asking the question. Is it possible that your problem isn't that you don't hold on to what you think God told you? You hold it too tight.
Wow. Wow.
Because sometimes his timing is different than yours. I don't know who this is for, but the Lord really wants you to get this today, because he's saying, let go. Let go. What would that journey have been like? To the mountain region named Moriah. This is the same region where Jesus would die thousands of years later, where God would give his son. Different mountain, same region. Abraham had no context for that. And so what do you do when your faith is being tested, but you have no precedence? No precedence. I wanted to call this message a promise with no precedence. In other words, I've never seen this before. I've never seen this before. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to be a father of many nations. I don't know how to do this. And you got to lead your son too. Isaac is 15 by this time, by the way. He's a teenager. He's a teenager. We talked a little bit about teenagers and trust earlier. And now this teenager, now watch the journey. There's a conversation that happens because they go 3 days. Remember, Abraham was tested not in a moment, but in a process. The test of your faith will be continual. You'll be good one moment, the next. Why are y'all so fake today? I said you'll be tested one moment, and your faith will be really, really good, and then it'll tank the next. You are only one text message away from your trust in God tanking to an all-time level. And that's true. Need I go further? And they're talking about it, and the further they get, the more questions Isaac has, because this is not the dad trusting the teenager. This is the teenager trusting the dad. This thing is flipped. And so now Isaac is walking with Abraham, and he doesn't know either. I should do a parenting seminar on this. What do you do when you're leading somebody and you don't know either? I don't know. Abraham's like, let me tell you about me and God. He doesn't give me many details. Because when they start walking, and I'm not cheapening the text by lightening the tone, I'm trying to bring you into it so that you can understand that God doesn't call us all to sacrifice our sons. He sacrificed his son for all of us, but he does call us all to trust in him at times. Times where we can't understand, and they're walking 3 days, and then comes the point where they can't take the servants any further, because there will come a place where you get to a point with God where no one else can help you figure it out. I mean, to a point, people can give you advice. To a point, people will give you wisdom, but don't worship their wisdom, because their wisdom is based on their experience. And God has to show you some things for your life. And Genesis 22:6 says that Abraham took the wood, get the picture, the wood for the burnt offering, and placed it on his son Isaac. Do we not see Jesus all the way in Genesis 22? That he took the wood and put it on his son. And he himself carried the fire and the knife. And as the two of them went on together, Isaac started to wonder a little bit. And he spoke up and he said to his father Abraham, "Father." "Yes, my son," Abraham replied. "The fire and the wood are here. I'm doing an inventory. We got everything we need except one thing. Where is the lamb for the burnt offering?" In other words, I need some details. And Abraham answered God. He only said one thing that he had found to be true over 1,500 miles of traveling. One thing that he had found to be true when he went to Egypt to survive for a little while. One thing that he knew to be true, even though he didn't know where this was leading. God himself will provide the lamb for the burnt offering. And in this moment, we wonder, was Abraham bluffing? Did he really know that that was going to happen? Because that is what happens. It's not a lamb, but it's a ram. Because God isn't going to ever do it exactly like you think he is. But he says it like he knows that God himself will provide the lamb for the burnt offering, my son. And watch this. I get the picture here that Isaac has seen Abraham trust God before. He has seen his father trust God before. Why? Because the deeper the trust, the less the need for details. Isaac told him God will provide, and the two of them went on together. He said, God will provide, and Isaac said, let's go. And so Isaac is saying, let's go, while Abraham is letting him go. And the moment comes. Now, just lock in with me for a minute. When they reached the place God had told him about, not the place he knew in his mind, God showed him when he got there. Abraham built an altar, which was a place of sacrifice, which was a place of death, which was a place of worship. He built an altar there and arranged the wood on it. He bound his son Isaac and laid him on the altar on top of the wood. I know how hard this is for us to get our minds around. That's why I was hesitant to preach it. But the one that I was most hesitant to preach in this whole series is the one that healed me the most. Because what I saw in verse 10 changed my life. He reached out his hand, and he is reaching for the instrument, the knife, and he's wrapping his fingers around the knife, letting go of his son. And as he reached out his hand and took the knife to slay his son, but the angel of the Lord called out to him from heaven, Abraham, Abraham. He said it twice because he was holding the knife and he thought his son was about to die and he didn't know what to make sense of it. But in the moment that he's holding the knife over his son, here comes the angel at that moment saying, Abraham, Abraham, let go. God says, let go at the very moment that Abraham thinks it's over. And when God said what he said, Abraham, Abraham, here I am, he replied. Verse 12, do not lay a hand on the boy. Somebody shout, let go. Shout it again, let go. Let go. I know you came this far thinking this was how it's going to end. But the moment that the angel spoke, he said, don't lay a hand on the boy. Don't do anything to him. Now I know that you fear God. And now that you've let him go, let go. Now that I know that I can trust you with what I taught you, that I can trust you, that you don't love it more than you love me. Now that I can trust you, that you're embracing my promise, not your plan. Now that you have let go. Because verse 12, you have not withheld your son. You have let go of your son. Now let go of the knife. And God is so strategic that at the moment that Abraham was letting go of the knife, which is what he thought he had to do, at the moment that God said, let go of the knife, verse 13 says he heard something other than the angel rustling in the background. Abraham looked up, and there in a thicket, he saw a ram caught by its horns, and he went over and took the ram and sacrificed it as a burnt offering instead of his son. Verse 14 says, so Abraham called that place, the place where he thought Isaac would die, that place, the place where he thought it was over, that place, the place he didn't even know he was going or what God would do, but he said he would provide, and he did provide, and he called that place, the Lord will provide. It wasn't called the place where Isaac died. It was called the place where Jehovah provided. And I declare, whoa, glory to God. Let's rename this place. Now, this is for all of the people who are letting go of something that you thought would happen, letting go of the way you thought somebody was supposed to change, letting go of what you expected from yourself, letting go of what you thought God was like, letting go of what you thought this season would include. This is for everybody who's letting go. At the moment that Abraham was letting go of the knife, The thicket was grabbing hold of the ram. What am I trying to say? God's got you in this place. God's got you in this place. His name is Jehovah. He is Jehovah Jireh. The Lord will provide for me. The Lord will provide for my family. The Lord will provide for this church. Can't you see the angel at the same moment that one angel is telling Abraham to let go of the knife? Another angel is telling the thicket to grab a hold of the ram. Don't you see the timing of God? What you call coincidence? But Abraham didn't know that. Abraham didn't know that. He had to go not knowing. And so do you. But Hebrews chapter 11, verse 19, stay standing and hasten me to a close and rush me with pressure by standing up. If you stand up, I'll start rushing this sermon to a conclusion and you can get the Qdoba and sit around and eat something that ain't gonna last you but 2 hours of energy instead of getting this word from God that can save you from a decade of disappointment and break off generations of depression off of your family, because my God is Jehovah Jireh. When God is testing your faith, not the devil, when God is testing your faith, even if the devil brings the trial, the Lord will administer the test. When God is testing your faith, he already taught you something. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 19, one more time. How did he make it up that mountain? How do I walk through this valley? How do I get through this season of uncertainty? How do I go not knowing? How do I show up not feeling it? How do I continue to embrace the promise while not holding it too tightly? The writer of Hebrews gives us a clue as to what to do when your faith is being tested and you know your God can be trusted. He said Abraham reasoned that God could even raise the dead. Now I thought about that thing, and I thought about that thing, and I thought about how he reasoned that God could even raise the dead. Even if it ends, God can bring a new beginning. He reasoned that God could raise the dead. And it made me ask the question, at this point in history, when Abraham reasoned that God would raise him from the dead, had there ever been a resurrection recorded in the scriptures? And the answer is no. There is no recorded resurrection in the scriptures by Genesis 22. I could understand if it said Peter reasoned that God could raise him from the dead because he saw that happen to his boss. So he had seen it before. But verse 19 does not say Abraham remembered that God could even raise the dead. For him to remember, he would have had to have a previous experience. He would have had to have a precedence for the promise. But it doesn't say he remembered because it wasn't anything he'd ever seen before. So I wondered to myself, what was the reason that he believed? It doesn't even say he believed. To believe could mean that you think it could happen, but you don't know it could happen. It doesn't say he remembered. He had never seen it before. It doesn't say he believed. It says he reasoned. And that made me remember what Paul, who we preached about last week, said about Abraham, who we're preaching about this week. Watch God put the ram in the thicket. Watch God drop the knife and stage the ram. Watch God work all things together for good in your life. Watch God put the right person at the right place at the right time to do the right thing, to give you the right. Watch God. Watch God. He reasoned. And I wondered why the Bible used the word he reasoned until I remembered that Romans 4:19 says that Abraham, without weakening in his faith, faced the fact that his body was as good as dead. Since he was 100, it only stands to reason that his body isn't going to get the job done. So he says it's as good as dead. And guess what? Sarah's womb was also dead. So I realized that although he had never seen the dead raised, he had seen somebody born from a dead place. I realized that I might not have ever seen this before. I might not have seen it, but how many can testify? I see something like it. If you knew where he brought me from, if you knew what he brought me through, you'd understand the reason The reason. High five 3 people, say, I got a reason. 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 I'm not foolish. It's faith, and my faith has substance. The reason I believe is because I've seen him do, watch this, something kind of like it. You ever seen the dead raised? No. Well, I saw a dead womb bring forth a baby. I saw something kind of like it. I never been through this challenge before, but I've been through something kind of like it. I never been in this place before, but I've been in something kind of like it. I never dealt with bad news quite like this before, but I've been through bad news that was kind of like it. I never fought a Goliath before, but I fought something kind of like it. I never crossed over a Red Sea before, but nothing but my staff, but I've been through something kind of like it. And I came to tell you today that if you're being tested in your faith, God is telling you to trust him in something he already taught you. If Isaac came from a dead place, Abraham said, God will raise him from a dead place. If he wants to, he can do what he wants to. I don't need the details, because the deeper the level of the trust, the less the need for details. I reckon God can raise him. I hear Abram hollering back to the servants, we'll be back in a little while, y'all, because I don't know what God's gonna do, but I've seen him do too much. I've seen him do too much. I've seen him do too much. Hey, when God tells you to release something, to let go, when God says let go, he's already got the ram in the bush. I want to show you one more thing. This blew my mind. Put a mind blow emoji in the chat by faith that this is going to blow your mind too. When it said that Abraham said to God, let's go even though I don't know. Let's go even though I don't know. Maybe that's where you are right now. Let's go even though I don't know. I'm going to take the first step. Let's go even though I don't know. I'm going to call a therapist. Let's go even though I don't know. I'm saying I'm sorry. Let's go even though I don't know. I'm going to church today. Let's go even though I don't know. I'm reading my Bible this morning. Let's go even though I don't know. When you say that, and then you hold on even though you don't see it. Yeah. And then God says, I want you to bring this thing back to me. This is the process, man. In my life, I just have to keep walking through my life with my kids, my dreams, my goals, my ambitions, my hangups, my flaws, like Abraham's walking with Isaac, and just say the Lord will provide and keep giving it back to God. And so here's a good prayer. It's yours, Lord. It's yours. You gave it to me by grace, so I'm going to finish it by faith. It's yours, Lord. When I told y'all to start the church with me and I didn't tell you what city, how did you trust so much when I told you so little? And I realized that although you had never seen this plan, you knew the person. Yeah. Yes. You saw me do some stuff. You saw me start a choir in college. You saw me start a choir in Shelby. You saw me say what I was going to do and then do it. I'm not comparing myself to God. I'm using it as an antithetical analogy. If they trusted me that much, seeing me do so little, how could we have seen God do so much and trust him so little? It came from a dead place. He reasoned. So when the thicket started rustling, Abraham looked up and saw a ram. And if you look at this in the ESV, which gives the exact word that is used when it says that there was a ram in the thicket, it gives you one meaning that I want to send you back to your house with today. Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him was a ram caught in the thicket by its horns. Behind him. What he needed was in a place he had already walked past. When your faith is being tested, there is something God has already taught you that he is calling you to trust him in and take hold of. He took hold of it. In the thicket. When he walked by the thicket, perhaps the ram wasn't there yet, but look back. The moment that he let go, the bush took hold and the ram was there. And he called that place, the Lord will provide. Everyone standing, heads bowed, eyes closed, no one moving. This place can be called the Lord will provide too. Please stand if you're physically able. It's our sign of respect to God that he is speaking and that this is holy ground. Turn your palms up to the Lord like you're lifting your hands to receive from him. There's a ram in the thicket. There is honey in the rock. There is water in your wilderness. The Lord will provide. There's something God has already taught you, something you've already walked past, something you've already learned, and letting go in this season will not be easy. But oh, it will be so relieving to you. Ball up your fist real tight like you're squeezing something. Come on, real tight like you're squeezing something, like you think it depends on you, like you got to make it happen, like you got to figure everything out. Now, when I say 3, I want you to do what my sermon says. When God says 1, 2, 3, let go. Let go. And hold what God told you, but hold it with open hands. Because if he dresses the lilies with beauty and splendor, come on, how much more will he clothe you? How much more will he clothe you? Faith does not make a fist. Faith holds on with open hands. It's yours, Lord. It's yours, Lord. This place, the place of surrender, Jehovah Jireh. If he watches over every sparrow, how much more does he love you? If he did not spare his son, but gave him up freely for us, if he gave us Jesus, how much more will he not freely give us all things pertaining to life and godliness? There's a ram in the thicket. There's forgiveness in the thicket. There's grace in the thicket. There's joy in the thicket, and it won't run out.
Hey, thank you for watching the Elevation Church YouTube. I want you to subscribe. That way you can know when we go live and post new content. Make sure to leave me a comment. Let me know what spoke to you today, where you're watching from, and what we can pray for you about. And if you'd like to support the ministry financially, you can click the Give button now and help us continue reaching people around the world for Jesus Christ. Thanks again. I'll see you next time.